Good morning and welcome. And it is early morning, not as early as I would like. It's already 8 o'clock and the temperatures are starting to rise. We're in the midst of a heat wave and I'm not complaining, but it is incredibly hot. We're reaching 32 and 33 degrees centigrade here in the southwest of England. That is pretty much unheard of for the UK. So I thought we'll have an early morning garden tour before the day gets too hot. While I was passing, we had to take a look at this splendid hollyhock, already being visited by the bees, putting up a wonderful show out in the grassy meadow. Now I'm going to head to the polytunnel before it gets way too hot in there. It probably already is. Even too hot for me to bear watering. So everything I suspect is suffering quite severely. And we see this blue pine. This was my daughter's Christmas tree in a pot on a window ledge. I don't know how many years ago now. It's a beautiful specimen though. Unfortunately, if we go around the back of it, this side gets nibbled by the deer every year. So it's sadly a little off shape. As it gets taller and out of their reach, it'll manage to balance out better. Right, polytunnel, here we come. Oh, that's not good. This yellow flower I can see needs dealing with urgently. This is ragwort, a weed that is highly toxic to animals when it ends up in the hay. So we want to get rid of this before it seeds and starts spreading into the rest of the landscape. In fact, I'm going to stop now and snap all its heads off. Oh, pull its bottom up, even better. It's snapping out nice and easy. I think I'll put its stalks either in a plastic bin bag or on the bonfire. It's too hot for bonfires, it's dangerous. So bin bags it's going to have to be. Oh, I can't pull this one out. Oof. Let's just snap you off then. We want the flowers. There we go. Now if I leave these flowering heads lying about on the ground, it is likely they will still continue to develop and turn into seed and blow around in the wind. So I need to deal with this plant now. As we are so hot and it's too dangerous for bonfires, I'm going to pack it up and put it in a black plastic bag, and it can go out to the dustbin next week. By then it should be well and truly dead. Outside of the polytunnel there are some Californian poppies looking pretty, and this verbascum's looking splendid. Not sure how its flowers will turn out yet, but its leaves are looking wonderful. It's still surprisingly green in here, considering things have not been properly watered for several days now, because it's just far too hot for me to bear the temperatures for any length of time. Oh look, sexy socks. Oh boy, it's already way too hot in here. Hello Puskin. I've fed the fish, I'll give the tomatoes a quick drink and I'm out of here. These flowers are looking pretty though. Yes. A miniature dahlia. Marigolds. I don't know what they're called. No, I don't. Petunias. Are they petunias? I think they're petunias. Yes, they were. They're petunias. And more marigolds. As you see, the peas behind me are dying off from lack of water. They're too thirsty. The beetle. The pineapple lilies are developing their flower stalks. And this is what gives them their name. The fact these little flower heads look like pineapples. There's a whole stream of little tiny buds along this stem that will eventually open up to little tiny flowers. It's not a magnificent looking flower, just a bit quirky, different and interesting. This one's looking interesting. It has a kind of giraffe splotchy stem. Is it opening a flower? Yes, here's the flowers on this one. Just green and insignificant. So the flowers aren't splendid, just strange and different. We have this little tiny sunflower, neglected in its pot. It's still living in a little 3-inch pot. This is long, bendy stem, struggling to survive and still giving a splendid little flower. Poor thing, neglected. Oh man, I'm dripping wet. The doors are open and netted, the side plastic is up, and it's still melting in here by 8 in the morning. The sweet corn's drying out, but its corn cobs are still looking good. So I think we'll have this one for lunch today. Feels good. See if there's anything worthwhile inside. Peeling back the layers. It's always a surprise. You can never be certain. We're looking good. And we see. Yay! Lovely. Oh, that's nice. Yummy lunch. Let's go and see if there's anything else worth harvesting. I know I won't be harvesting any tomatoes today. I had the half dozen yesterday that were ready, but we've got lots more to come if I can get these leaves out of the way. There's lots of lovely tomatoes ready to ripen. And if this heat keeps up, they should start ripening quite quickly. This was a tomato plant I picked up at a roadside stall. It was labelled Italian beefsteak. And I have to admit, at the time, I had no idea what an Italian beefsteak was. Oh, I'm sweating. I suspected it was going to be a Roma, which is an Italian plum tomato. But it's not. It is, as labelled, an Italian beefsteak. I have since Googled it, and this is exactly how it should look, with this ripply, crinkly outer skin. And something's been having a munch out of that one. That's not good. We'll leave it for the moment. So these are looking great. We have this lovely random pink gladioli flowering. I should pick it and take it in the house really, because I'm certainly not going to sit out here and admire it. I'm already streaming wet. Let's get out of here before I melt completely. Here's a lovely gherkin. The gherkins have a slightly prickly outer skin when you first pick them, so I always have an old towel ready to get hold of it. It's a bit like a cacti, but not quite so severe. And just keep twisting it on the plant until it snaps off. Round and round and round we go. And eventually it will release. There we go. And then I rub it off with my towel to knock off all those little sharp prickly spikes. Hairy spikes really. There, now it's just like a normal baby cucumber. Yum, that can go with the sweet corn for lunch. Are there any more hiding? I'm sure there will be. I just need to look harder. Well, I knew there would be more gherkins, but I didn't suspect there were going to be quite this many more. Cucumber sandwiches for the next couple of days. This one I nearly missed completely. It's getting almost too big, but it's still very usable. If they get completely missed, they'll start to ripen out and turn yellow and get sort of bitter to taste. But that's okay, just break it off and compost it, because there's almost plenty more. A bit like courgettes. Once they start producing, there's no stopping them. And of course, the first one you saw me harvest. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 gherkins today. Perhaps we'll make some pickle. So not a bad little basket. Sweet corn, gherkins, a few tomatoes, and a handful of pea pods. Now, I said I was leaving here 10 minutes ago and I'm still melting. Let's get outside. I have 2 squash plants here, coming from different directions, both starting to take over. I knew they would. I don't know what sort of squash they are yet. They're seeds that volunteered themselves and I didn't weed them out. So they're beginning to flower, but like all squashies, the male flowers are the ones we're seeing first. I've just got beginnings of female buds starting. It looks like a round something, but that's as much as I know. This poor dahlia seems to have a spot of white fly and needs deadheading. It's too hot. I'm leaving. Water lilies is still putting up a splendid display. This one's huge. Very nice. And here's the knapweed I'm always singing the praises of. Looking splendid with a mass of little purple thistle-like flowers. Let's go and see what else we have around the garden. The outdoor potatoes are starting to die back and are ready for harvesting. But like all garden jobs, not this week. It's too hot. The brassicas we planted out a couple of weeks ago are doing very nicely. Surprisingly, they don't seem to be objecting to the heat and are still standing good and strong. This is the best one, looking big and lovely. But the others around it are all doing nicely as well. I can't remember, I've got a mixture of cauliflower, broccoli and white cabbage. So let's keep them covered up, keep the butterflies out, and hopefully stay caterpillar free. Something's been visiting and munching the tops off my raspberry canes as they start to poke through this protective netting. Deer, I suspect, to be that high up. It could be a rabbit, I suppose, leaning on the netting. It's quite strong stuff. Well, I'll get bushy plants now, I suppose. It's the same on all of them. Working our way along. This one's also had its top nibbled off. Whereas this slightly shorter one, still safely in protection. I suspect these thornless blackberry are going to give me a splendid harvest this year. They are dripping with fruit. A few weeks yet before they turn black though. There's all sorts of stages happening on this plant at the same time. I have flowers out here on this stalk, baby fruits, still green pellets here, and big fat red fruits ready to turn. If the rest of the summer stays good, we should get a long harvest from this. Now this blueberry bush did have some blue blueberries on it the other week. I've eaten a couple but not many, and I can see no signs of blue or purple at all today. My own fault, I didn't cover it in fruit netting and the birds are having a feast. So I'm going to throw a net over it now and see if I can get these green ones when they go blue. I very much missed the blackcurrant harvest this year. Again, I didn't get my netting on in time and the birds have been feasting. There's not many left. I'll let them have the rest as they ripen up. Never mind, there's always next year. The pom-pom heads of these leek seeds are getting huge. Oh, fluffy and soft and fun. Whee! I've been busy with insects and bees and bugs, all happily pollinating, so that'll be great for the viability of these seeds. Worth growing the leeks just for these wonderful pom-pom heads. Never mind the leeks to munch and eat. I've also had some breadseed poppies flowering here, so their poppy seed heads are developing nicely as well. I've not been doing very well with the soft fruits this year. The birds have been beating me to it. This cherry plum wasn't laden but had quite a few fruits. It looks like 3 is all I'm going to get. That's a shame because they are delicious. Little tiny plums the size of cherries. Never mind, like the blackcurrants, there's always next year. I did very well off of it last year with several punnetfuls of fruit. I've been busy with other jobs and it's been too hot to be in the garden, so I've been missing this wonderful harvest. This little patch of sunflower and squashies is doing very nicely. The big sunflowers towering above me already, developing a head, but it's only about the size of my fist right now, and the little short ones are already gracing us with a beautiful flowery show. There's another one round here, been flowering for a few days. What's in here? Oh, a head developing in this short stumpy one. And there's squash. There's a mixture of squash plants in this bed. I can't remember what I planted. As the fruits start to develop, we'll be able to identify what they were. Some butternuts and some delicata I can remember for sure. What else might be here is a lucky dip. There's a small fruit developing in here. Just lost its flower. Can't guarantee it's going to set yet. This is always a dodgy time. The slugs seem to like this end. If it gets munched at, it won't make it. So give it a few days to set up. We'll know it's going to stay. Here we have UK gardener's worst nightmare, slugs. Get off my plant and go and be bird food somewhere. Oh, that's better. Back indoors in the shade. Not a bad little harvest for one early morning. I did get a few blueberries, but literally only about 8. Some peas, a couple of tomatoes, lots of gherkins and lots of sweet corn. So that's it for today. Bye for now, and stay cool in this raging heat. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that like button and let me know. Click subscribe and YouTube will make sure you see my next video. So bye for now, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it.